doing a praying mantis, which looks a lot like a Karate Kid kick maneuver. That's all I could come up with as a way to introduce this faction. I guess I could have just just had
the
a
dinosaur arms.
bulldozer. I was thinking like a bulldozer just crushing everything in his path consistently. Or maybe here, I'll just draw some cards. That seems to be...
They really, man.
I got some cards.
I couldn't believe that they preserved, I couldn't believe they preserved the Scorpion box. I couldn't believe they preserved the Mantis box.
We talked about it again. It was just sort of like overwhelmingly shocking. And surprise, surprise, still really great.
They kind of broke down. They tried to put all these little different things. Like Mantis really just came out on top in every way. Lion gets attacking and dueling. Like Mantis gets drawing cards and sneak attack.
Let's give them sneak attack, drawing cards, and more gold than everyone else, and see if they can't somehow convert those resources into wins. And by the by, your secondary theme is killing things with ranged attacks. Yeah. That was maybe... That might not have been... Anyway, so generally what happens is when you're really great and you have all these built-in advantages, you get pretty mediocre people sort of as the sets start to come out, because you don't need anything, right? So let's see if that trend continues. We begin with Mochi Chayoko, and it looks that way, because this card is, just bad, right? 3/3 for 6 is pretty terrible numbers for Shugenja, and it's got a crappy fear effect, and yeah, thanks. And we're done.
This guy kind of wandered away from Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, it's there was never, it was this guy was 4 or 5 gold, and they're like, well, it's Mantis, let's make it more, and it's got Thunder keyword, and that comes up never, but maybe we missed something somewhere along the lines, and whatever. And it's I feel like this guy is paying for the fact, or this girl is paying for the fact that she has 2 elemental keywords, and neither of them matter ever. And
never at all.
Yeah. So the fact that she's uncommon too instead of common, this is just a complete...
it runs into the problem we talk about over and over again about an arbitrarily large fear effect is still a fear effect.
Yep.
And that's all there is.
Doesn't even have navel.
Doesn't even have
navel.
Navel.
This next guy is still pretty awful. Because 2/2 for 4 is not 3/3 for 4. But at least it's a naval Shugenja, and you give him a spell, and so then it's 3/4 for that turn when you equip it. Okay, I guess, but I mean, nobody plays the other 2/2 for 4 naval Shugenja that has a fear 2 effect.
Which is
it's
better.
I know, it's great. It's there's that unplayably, there's this cheap Shugenja that's sort of unplayed, and ripped her into these other 2 cards, and now neither one of those will be played. Thanks.
And Mantis has tons of cheap naval Shugenja. On the face, I read these cards and I think, it's a cheap naval Shugenja. That must be awesome.
No.
But it's not. And I don't know where the disconnect is. It's just force generation, I guess.
It's really disappointing to me, too, because I feel like a Thunder Shugenja could do something odd, lightning bolts out of the fingers like Emperor Palpatine, or, summoning gigantic sea monsters to attack, or just something. And instead, we just get a Fear 2 effect and the ability to give themselves Force or Chi when they commune with the Kami. Whatever. So those 2 cards are done. Let's get them out of the way, because here comes the card for us.
Oh, my lord. This card is just a mess. Tsuriti Kinuyo.
And she's great. Thanks, Steve Gibbons, when we first tasted blood.
You nailed this one. So, she's a 5 force... she's a 5 gold, 3 force destined scout. So she goes into scout deck and turns the thing back up. Good stats, perfectly good. Now, you ask yourself, Jesse, Paul, what does she do when I have fewer provinces? Now, I'm glad you asked. Instead of drawing a card for bringing her into play, you may choose a card in your fate discard pile and put it into your hand. What is this? This is
any card, not a strategy.
Not a strategy card. Any card you want.
Some item that you played that got blown up by your true nature, it's back. The most powerful strategy that you had to play early to win the battle, the crucial victory card, it's back. And it's just wow. a karmic card. I mean, just so
in a
good,
go second
man.
faction.
So good.
And like, is it possible that you won't trigger compassion because of how the pace of the play goes? Yeah, maybe, sure.
Sure.
Is it possible that you bog 2 of her on turn 4 or whatever, when the one turn of the game it will be on, and you get your 2 best cards back, proceeding to win the game in a landslide? Like, also potential.
This is the thing I envision. I really can see a situation where it's like, it's tight, you're down on a province, they have 3, you have 2, but you're just like, you know what? I'm going to use my gold to, like, draw a fake card off my box, and then I buy these 2 guys and pick up my other 2 cards, and then next turn, and then they attack me, and I just crush them on the defense, or it just, at some point, card advantage is a way to win CCGs. This is sort of a reductive truism of CCGs, right? And one of the ways you can win by not having card advantage, by not having like more just cards, just more things to do and more options, is just by having the better stuff. And she doesn't just give you more stuff; she gives you the better stuff. Yeah, and it's like that's really good.
Like the selection is just.
At common too is really just.
She's gonna be totally bonkers in draft. Just get as many of her as you can, and just keep playing. You get like one good card, right? You just play it every single turn.
I had a thought that like I could play an honor deck with like if I get like 10 of them, I like play an honor deck, give up the first province, and then just like you attack. I play all my cards. I buy these guys. I play all my cards again.
Yeah.
Beat me twice.
So I mean, in Mantis, like this feels like a very dragony card. Something that would fit like somewhere else. Just putting it in Mantis is such rub-ins. Even just as a destined, like a cheap, good destined scout.
Good in any like good card. I think honestly the place was probably Lion because they're the least likely to trigger the compassion.
Yeah, fair enough. So absolutely bonkers. The
fact
that it's a scout just rub-ins. Taito we've seen already because he was in the
Siege Clan Wars, which the less from us probably the better. Play a game of L5R for 5 hours, Jesse.
So, sorry, was that?
Do you want to play with L5R for 5 hours and count force over and over and over again?
Dude.
What am I telling you? You can occasionally steal your opponent's personality.
Oh my god.
And then
I fled the country because we played that game of Siege. Like, I was in America, and like...
We went, it was a Tuesday, you played the Siege, I did not get to play because we had too many people, so I like... played some other board games off to the side. Then, like, I never saw you again. You were like, I'm done with it. You were like, oh, you're just like, I'm done. I'm going to the lake house and then I'm getting out of America. But I ruined it for you. I'm sorry about that.
I fled the country. All right, but so we've already seen Taito. We already knew he was totally awesome. Like,
he was great there. He's still great. He's right on the edge of, like he's a good personality, and there's not a lot of good 8 gold cost for like, personalities. Like, there's the Crane guy, Tamataka, the -4 force guy. But it's very hard in the set. Bayushi Meimei is the Scorpion that I like. But it's been very hard to get good, playable 8 gold cost personalities into decks. And this guy seems to have the formula. 4 force for 8 gold with a relevant battle action and plus relevant keywords. And he just has all of that stuff, and so he makes it in without really much difficulty, and that's really great.
This guy's the total nuts. I get that it's like a pseudo drawback or something if you're attacking and you use it as a naval and he goes like 4 force goes home, but he bows for the range 3 anyway. Like just on the defense,
right? So it's not a big
like not so good. Like,
and so we've talked about resilient. It really just makes it just sort of makes resilient look so stupid. Like, I'm not resilient. You know what I am? I run home after I shoot you immediately.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I just shoot you and I go. It's not even 2 actions. Like you can't.
It's so much. It's really good. It's one of the best cards of the set. They look a really good Mantis guy who makes range 3 attacks. So sweet.
You were talking
so now we're into the Kensei. Now we're getting into the wacky bits, the wacky weeds. This is the guy, your Peasant Web have honor. I
love the honor. It's like, so Mantis, Kensei, Peasant
we gotta
weapons,
get one in every faction, right? That seems to be what the gimmick. Like, every faction has to have a guy that references honor. So they took these to okay, so here we need a Mantis guy that references honor. Nobody cares. So what do we do? Well, let's take this other thing that nobody cares about. We'll just jam them together
Yeah,
and
just
like
stick it
they'll
here.
just sort of like they'll hang out. Like if we get enough stuff nobody cares about, like oscillating on the same wavelength, it'll like create a dystopian vision that we'll look at and be like, "Up, still don't care."
I want to transcribe that sentence, and we can break it down for future generations to decipher. This is like, what is Mantis doing with
Did I
honor? Like,
not articulate clearly the
the peasant
ridiculousness
weapons,
of?
the peasant weapons actually dishonor the guys that they attach to as text of peasant weapons. So why are they the ones that are honor? Like, I don't know. The
Well,
guy
I mean, that's some really clever. Like, I see what you did there with your sort of foreshadowing of the sense, and that's really good. Do you like anything with the bow it, or if it is a peasant weapon, you may destroy it to make it melee too?
I feel like I've seen this guy before. I don't know where, but all these peasant weapon guys, it's like there's one that gets played because he's like a scout and he makes a -2 force or -3 of a peasant weapon. One of those guys where you just delete everything after the first period and the card's
Yeah.
still good, so you play it. This guy is not that. If you delete everything after the first period on this, it's just nonsense, so it doesn't work.
So my thing with this is, so you can have multiple peasant weapons, but the battle ability isn't repeatable. So, like, why would you ever blow up the peasant weapon instead of, like, bowing it, right?
Because it's already bowed. That's the idea.
Right, but if this was repeatable, I could go bow my weapon and then blow it up and make multiple melee twos.
Right. If this card is good, this is like, so we've now stopped the review of the card and we were going to the section of this review. And we always do this, and I think it's fine. And I agree, but let's all recognize what's happening. Is that we're going to the part of the review where we talk about a card that's like this card, but better.
Not naval either. And this is and we love Mantis Kensei because it gives us an excuse to play the Mantis Stronghold with In Stillness Forge the Soul and no weapons, and like that's what they like to do.
But
this
cheap. They already have plenty of cheap naval scouts.
He's filler. He's like, I really want to just play all Kensei, and like, fine, here you go. Here's a 3v for 5 Kensei.
It's living in the past. Like all these Mantis Kensei, it's just living in the past.
Well, this next one gets in because he's 4 force for 5 gold, and he's naval, and so you give him a weapon, and there you go.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this guy's great. Like he
gets to be in like the corrupt attack deck or just the attack deck because whatever.
Right.
4 force naval guy. Rock on with you, Mantel. And he gives all your present weapons out of play courage, which is like having honor, only you might one day actually use courage because there are fear effects that happen. You're never going to use honor, and whatever. I still don't care. I'm still not playing.
A guy that gives courage, a guy that gives all your weapons courage is like an Adam and the Ants reunion tour. It's just like throwing itself out there to be like, hey, remember us? Like, we're a thing.
You got me. Adam Ants. Here we go. Is it Adam and the Ants?
Adam and the Ants is an 80s pop band.
I know my 80s pop music pretty well. Wow. They were an English new wave band, sir. That's totally different. Oh, okay. Sure. I gotcha. Okay. So anyway, yeah. It's just whatever.
Here's whatever. His stat line's really good though. Don't write him off.
Don't you want to get this guy and the last guy together, and you'll have crappy peasant weapons, but they'll have honor and they'll have courage. I mean, they'll line up, and you'll see the majestic rainbow, and at it will be a pot of coal.
It's a double rainbow. Oh my lord! You know what this is? It's a double rainbow. I have to get a picture of this. Don't do drugs, kids.
Is it? Okay.
Let's talk about the sensei, which I foreshadowed very cleverly by talking about peasant weapons not dishonoring because they all do dishonor. Now, I will never play the sensei. Can you guess the line of text why I will never play the sensei?
It bums me out, dude, because this is a real sensei. Like, in Emperor Edition, Dragon played a stronghold that was like, target a thing in your discard and attack it to your guy, and it was awesome because you picked up your Wormbone katanas, and that was really good, right?
Is that why that stronghold was really good?
Seriously, that was, you know what I'm talking about. That was a good stronghold, and you played it. I know. And Mantis have done this effect with followers. So, like, this isn't a bad sensei. This is a great sensei, even having to pay 2 more gold to get your Bow of Ritual Blessing back, or whatever your awesome item is, right?
Sure.
The problem is, you're not going to want to sacrifice your ability. and you don't care about peasant weapons. I don't know why that's even there. That's just stupid. I don't care. So, whatever.
Yeah, you're right, and I fall into this trap a lot of reviewing the cards based on what they want to do and not based on what they can do.
Yep.
That like this wants to be a peasant weapons card, but who cares about peasant weapons? Just pick up really good weapons. The thing is that like why is it like it's really tough to say like you go from taking a card off the top to taking a card out of the discard pile, and like when is it better to not just rip one off the top, and if it's a weapon, it's a weapon. If it's an action, it's an action.
When your guy is compassion and there's a very specific awesome card, if the card quality of the cards in the discard can like, consistently be like if every time you take a card from the discard it's awesome, then that's probably better. The problem is Kensei this isn't the arc for Kensei. There's not a lot of good weapons, single-handed or double-handed, right? To do Kensei, you want to play one-handed weapons, but there's not a lot of great one-handed, whatever. People will build Mantis Kensei, they will build it with this sensei. It's one of the decks we're going to have to look into. This is a good sensei. I have a feeling that the other Mantis decks are all just better because they have non-Kensei guys who shoot things, and that's great. But
I want a proactive way to use this card.
Throwing knives is a proactive way to use this card.
Okay. Like that's all I want. Like to get me from like this is a neat thing in a world with Wormboat Katana to I want to play this card right now, as opposed to just ripping one off the top every single turn. Is like what's the combo? Like what cards does this make turn from like a mediocre card to like a deck staple?
And my thing is, what's the better choice between Minoru Sensei or just running 2 or 3 copies of Spirited Dispute? And the thing is I can just run Spirited Dispute, right? And it's 4 gold to pick up 2 different attachments, which I can then sort of spread the gold costs out for different turns, or it's 2 to get 1 that I can attach. Like, I'd rather just play Spirited Disputes and have a mix of weapons plus followers plus guys who can shoot things. That seems like a more sound strategic play to me. But this is one of the more powerful sensei. So the problem is the weapons and the Kensei and paying 2 more and that sort of stuff.
Sure. But I think all in all, though, Mantis got some really, really cool toys here.
I mean, I love the one. So we love Card Draw Dude because he's Card Draw Dude. And we love Taito Experience because he shoots and runs home and he's got a Naval Range 3.
Well, we also
and
like the Corrupt guy.
Yeah, so I mean, these are... And those 3 cards are at a very high power level. And then their filler guys are okay. They only have 1 dud. The 6 gold cost first guys, the only true dud. I think Mantis were an 8 out of 10.
Absolutely. I think they're an 8 or a 9. They did great. They're going to keep being the top faction, like I guess, for eternity because this is it.
In perpetuity, sort of.
So, they were supposed to be removed as a faction, but they're going out on top.
Good for you guys.
Until next time, this has been Enough Talk.